Okay, this is an inking video featuring the Shark Fountain Pen by Jinhao. Now, I am the furthest thing you can get from an expert on fountain pens. Basically, I bought this and a few others to try for inking. Now, at least a brief history of comic inking is, if you look at the old guys going back to the Stan Lee days, they use this mostly, which is a dip pen, sometimes brushes too. And I did too for a while. I still do once in a while, but I get kind of sick of constantly dipping the stupid pen and thought, well, why not use a fountain pen? You don't have to dip those. And one thing that got me kind of curious is what fountain pens go back, way back before comic guys. So why didn't they use, fountain pens? And the reason being is the dip pen nibs tend to be a bit more flexible. So if you press down harder, you get a fatter line. So you can draw a line with these. The nib I have on this is a G nib, which I guess is really popular with manga writers. It gives a really fine line. And that's actually a little bit ironic because the comic artists, the inkers, switched off from this, the dip pens, to these, which are fine liner markers. And the fine liner markers are actually more similar to fountain pens, and that you don't get line variation with by pressure. And of course, they went from these, a lot of them, especially younger guys, just do everything completely digital now on a computer. Oops, wait for it. Yep. You haven't managed to do a video yet. Well, the old coffee cough, the coof cough that I've had for a month. So anyway, back to this. I really like the feel of nibs better than the feel I get from these markers. Although I do use these when using tools, like if I use a ruler or a template or something like that, these just work better than trying to line a nib up. So, of course I got like a gazillion things. So anyway, in order to make the video rather than just post a still picture of this, I made this parody cover. It's a parody of it's a parody of the book Jaws, which if you're younger you might not remember, but it was about a giant white shark gobbling up people on a New England island. It was actually filmed in Martha's Vineyards, but the island was just it's some made up name I don't remember. And a lot of it was a conflict between the sheriff, who was concerned about people not being on the shark's menu, and the sheriff, who was like a typical greedhead politician who didn't want to lose any of the beach fees and other money the town made from people swimming in the summer. And if a few people have to get gobbled up by a shark, he's still getting his money. And so let's see. First of all, I got to do the old ink flow check. Also, I want to avoid the blotch. Because once you get the blotch, your drawing is fucked up. At that point, it's just like take it right to GIMP or Krita. I do a little bit of digital too, but I really, really do like the feel of a nib on paper, which is why I'm using this and not this. Because the markers just don't feel as good to me. I don't know why. But there seems to be a lot of fans of nib and fountain pens around, so I can't be the only one that feels that way. So let's see. And of course, this is kind of hard to see with a stupid shadow in the way, but it is what it is. Nothing's ever perfect. So let's see. So I already sketched this out. I mean, there's basically two ways I've seen inkers do this. The way I'm doing, which I use a fairly light 2H lead to do the sketch, ink over that, let the ink get nice and dry, and then run over it with an eraser. Because even the pros, no matter how good you think you are, you're not going to line up perfectly with a pencil. So the solution to that, like I said, is to just erase over it once the ink dries. Or some people use something referred to as a non-photo blue pencil. And that puts out a very light, blue shade, which supposedly doesn't show up in scanners, photographs. And I say supposedly because new ones are a little more sensitive, and I don't think that quite works anymore. Oh, this stupid wave is kind of overlapping where her body is, so I'm not seeing the line very well. Here we go. Okay, got it. I mean, people that know better maybe can comment and let me know, but I'm guessing this nib is kind of what I'd refer to as medium fine. Because I'm pretty sure my dip pen's G nib is a little finer than this. I wouldn't really quite call this medium. So I guess medium fine is a good enough categorization. Okay, I think it's time to flip this. Okay, really not a very good drawing, but it is a parody, so whatever. Now, the original book cover is like this. You see the top of the ocean, and you can see the top and underneath her body. But of course, underneath the water, which is drawn somewhat translucent compared to, just blue sky up above. So I probably will, maybe for coloring, go digital. Do some nice green watercolor mixed with blue for the water, underneath with just a nice sky blue for the sky, obviously. Okay, raise this enough so people can actually see it. Because I've been burned by not paying attention to where the camera is and just looking down. Like one time the camera cord was hanging down like right here for the whole video. It's just like, ugh. I used to do more streams, but those are a lot more of a pain in the ass to set up than videos. I mean, they can be more fun if you have a lot of interaction, but if you don't have any interaction, because you're kind of a no-name and so nobody's going to show up for your stream, there's too much work for no reward. Plus, in a video, you fuck up, sometimes you can correct it with, a program like Sony Vegas or whatever you like to use. I mean, on a stream, that's live. So it's like you find out your sound's not working, or you have other problems. Of course, if your sound's not working, you're screwed in a video too, but if maybe you're just not getting enough volume, that's something you could definitely fix with a video editor. But you're streaming, not so much. Okay. I have to turn around the side because it's just too much space. Dum 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 dum. Because in the book cover, there's a giant shark coming up to grab the woman who's swimming. So yeah, it's. I figured this was a shark pen, so that's what I do, and it will definitely look better colored, but that's maybe for another time. This particular part is done, almost done. I have to do the pencil erase, but I think I'm gonna wait till I'm 100% sure the ink is dry before doing that. Now, fountain penning does dry pretty quick. It's like 60 seconds, a couple of minutes, but I mean, if it decides not to take a little longer, you're not going to be able to fix a smudge. So I'll tend to be really cautious and wait something like 10 minutes just to be extra sure it's dry so I don't fuck up whatever I did. So I guess that's it. I'm having a big brain fart. There's not much else to say anyway. So sayonara.